Roller spring perches. We have two sets here. These made by DazeCars and these made by Opentracker Racing. I'm going to compare the two and tell you which one I think is better. Spoiler alert, it's probably not the answer you'd expect me to say.
Greetings, fellow DIYer, and welcome to my video.
I have been making and selling roller spring perches for 18 years. I made my first set in April of 2005, and I made them based on directions given by John Dinkle of Opentracker Racing. I've known John for a long time. He's a good guy. I've been making and selling roller perches for the last 18 years with his permission. And now I am no longer making them. In fact, this is the last pair of DazeCars roller spring perches. So I figured, why not take some time, compare the two sets of perches, and just take a good look at what's the same, what's different, what might be better about one over the other, and ultimately crown a champion. Which roller perch is the better perch? So these perches are made from Aftermarket cores. If you would like to make a set of perches like this, I have an in-depth webpage that shows you most of what you need to know to build a set of these out of either Aftermarket cores or out of original OEM spring perches. I also have a video that I recently uploaded that shows you all the tips and tricks that are not in my webpage. It's 18 years worth of experience on how to make a set of roller spring perches. These roller perches are made start to finish with the intent of being roller spring perches. In other words, these bodies, this sleeve, these shafts were purpose built for Opentracker Racing, and so there's no deconstruction, there's no turning one thing into another involved in this. All the components you see here come purpose built to be roller spring perches. Now, does that really affect anything? It could if you were planning on using OEM cores. In the case of these aftermarket cores, it's probably fairly similar quality to what you have here. Although I do kind of like the fact that we have this metal piece that goes up completely surrounding the sleeve, as opposed to the metal only surrounding halfway on the older style perches. If you're using OEM cores, you are dealing with 50 to 60 years of wear and tear. And so at that point, quality could be an issue. There could be cracks in that metal that you can't see. I've gotten OEM perches that had cracks or little tears in the metal that happened at the factory. You could tell that the pressing process that they used to make the body actually caused the little bit of damage. Now, when I converted perches that had damage like that, I would always drill out the base of the crack, cut the crack out, fill it with weld, smooth it out. You don't have to worry about any of that if you're using aftermarket cores or if you're using these purpose-built Opentracker Racing roller perches. From a functional standpoint, there's no difference. These are going to pivot smoothly. These are going to pivot smoothly. I have customers that have gotten 60 to 100,000 miles out of their roller perches, just like this design right here, and they're still going strong. Nothing has worn out, nothing is rubbing, making noise, and I'm sure the same can be said of the Opentracker perches. With the bearings and stuff, the quality bearings, the quality components that are here, these are going to last a long, long time. And functionally, like I said, we have no difference. Aesthetically, I might give the edge to these perches right here. Why? Because they have this little dimple right here, just the way Ford did it back in the day. It's just for aesthetics at this point. It was originally designed to be a drain hole for moisture and things. But the moment the sleeve gets welded in, that hole gets plugged. So it does not function as a drain hole. The only difference between this flat-topped guy and this guy right here is how it looks. Now you may think, I want my perches to look like OEM perches, but lots of aftermarket perches are flat-bodied, just like this. And most OEM perches have been replaced in the last 50 years. So there are a lot of stock vehicles out there with stock components that the perch looks like this. And here's the last piece of this. A shock fits right here. So once this is installed, you are not going to be able to tell the difference between this and this. So the aesthetic argument is really no argument at all, because they basically look the same once installed, and you would have to do some serious investigating to tell the difference once they're in the vehicle. So if they function the same, they look the same, what is the difference? These use 4 bearings instead of 2 because the bearings are slightly smaller. These use 2 bearings and the bearings are slightly bigger. That right there, this one little change is what makes this the winner, the better perch. The narrower sleeve here is going to make it easier to get your washers in place for installing your shock. This narrower sleeve is going to make it easier to get a socket in here to tighten down the nut for your shock. That's one of the biggest complaints with this right here. There is plenty of clearance for your socket, but you actually have to install your washer and your rubber bushing first on both sides and then drop the shock down in. And that can kind of be a little bit tricky. Whereas here you've got the room and can most likely get those pieces in as you lower the shock in place. The other thing that makes this the better perch is it's rebuildable. There's a snap ring on each side that can be removed. You press the shaft out, you pop the bearings out, you replace the bearings, you put it all back together. It's a half-an-hour job in the afternoon. Technically, these are rebuildable, and technically I've rebuilt a pair or two when I've had problems in the manufacturing process. But I am here to tell you it is a major pain. Because these are held in place by peening the journal over, you have to very carefully bend that back to be able to get the bearings out. And it's doable. I have done it, but it is labor intensive and it is by no means easy. So it's this part of the design right here that gives the Opentracker perches the edge. This is Opentracker's 3rd generation roller perch. When he originally started making them, they looked like this. Then they had a different version in between, and then now they are making this better quality unit. I am no longer selling these, but I am selling these. So if you are interested in purchasing an Opentracker roller spring perch, you can get them directly from Opentracker. That's great. You can also get them from DazeCars.com. Whatever works best for you, I'm happy to sell them to you. I'm happy to have John sell them to you. Either way, they're all coming from the same place because now I am selling Opentracker roller spring perches. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to put a comment down below.
If you like what you've seen, please click like. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe. Thanks for watching.